The Xbox One hasn't seen as much stellar software as the PS4 over the years. However, there's still a good lineup of console exclusives to experience, and many of them are even available on Xbox Game Pass, offering tons of hours of fun for a very low price. Without further ado, let's take a look at the 25 best Xbox One games of all time, ranked from bottom to top. Crackdown 3. Okay, so Crackdown 3 isn't the greatest open world game out there, but it offers a decently sized city with plenty to blow up and lots of different things to do. The skills for kills system encourages taking down foes with a variety of weapons and abilities, and hunting down different crime bosses while laying waste to their businesses can be mindless fun. It's Crackdown-rific, and that may work for certain people. Dead Rising 3. By comparison, Dead Rising 3 should tickle one's open-world, zombie-slaying fancy just fine. Sure, there's a plot about Los Perdidos being taken over and psychopaths to fight, but the real appeal is making all sorts of crazy weapons and slaughtering the undead by the hundreds. Dead Rising 3 even allows for customizable vehicles, so that you could combine, say, a motorcycle whose front tire is a steamroller and roll over zombies. Despite some performance issues and forgettable side quests, it's a decent ride altogether. Below. Capybara's Below was first announced in 2013 and wouldn't release until December of 2018. The appeal of a roguelite dungeon crawler with randomly generated dungeons and permadeath wasn't exactly new by this point. However, Below intrigued us with its aesthetic and atmosphere, feeling appropriately desolate even as we yearned for a closer look at our character. State of Decay 2. With State of Decay 2, Undead Labs didn't stray too far from the original game's formula. Some of the newer additions, like different origin stories for the dual characters and a choice between 3 large regions as opposed to 1, felt nice. Despite the average graphics, there's a decent loop to be had between exploring locations, claiming them, and building up a stockpile of supplies as your base grows. It's nothing extraordinary, but State of Decay 2 is a decent time waster. Blair Witch. Despite starring one of the most irritating protagonists in recent horror game memory, Blair Witch can be a rollicking good time for those who like pampering its sidekick, Pooch, Bullet. For everyone else, this tale of reality warping, psychological horror, and creepy woods can be hit or miss. Its gameplay and story leave a bit to be desired, but at least it looks good. Fable Fortune. A collectible card game set in the Fable universe may seem gimmicky, but Fable Fortune has a few interesting things going for it. There are 6 heroes to choose from, each with their own decks. You can choose good or evil alignments, which can majorly affect cards and heroes alike during battle. The co-op element can be a little off-putting for solo players, but if you want an alternative to Hearthstone with less RNG, this might work. RECORE Definitive Edition. Written by Joseph Staten of Halo fame, conceptualized by Keiji Inafune from Mega Man, and directed by Mark Pacini of Metroid Prime. For as much talent as there was working on RECORE, it should have been something more. The result was fine, offering action platforming and an intriguing story, only to blow it on repetitive gameplay and tech issues. The Definitive Edition did remedy much of the technical problems and improve the pacing for what it's worth. Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Some may lambaste the Coalition for its first Gears of War title being a remake of the original. Regardless, Gears of War Ultimate Edition was a graphically stunning version of a classic, which still held up despite pathetic allied AI and some glitches. The mechanics may have felt last gen, but the gunplay was still solid, and moments like battling a Berserker and Brumac still felt awesome. Plus, we get to see Queen Mira at the end, foreshadowing the events to come. Rare Replay. Yes, Rare Replay is little more than a collection of emulated classics rather than stunning remakes or remasters, but it also offers a whopping 30 games from the Hollowed studio, including Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Conker's Bad Fur Day, RC Pro-Am, Battletoads, Jet Force Gemini, Blast Corps, and Killer Instinct Gold. The Snapshots feature allowed for playing bite-sized challenges, while the Rare Revealed footage offered a quick look behind the scenes. For the retro enthusiast, Rare Replay is simply a must-have. Halo: The Master Chief Collection. 343 Industries' compilation of the first 4 Halo games, including remasters of Halo 1 and 2, was a mess at launch, and a mess for quite some time after. Things have improved a lot, so if you're looking to experience the campaigns, multiplayer maps, and modes for Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary Edition, Halo 3, and Halo 4, then this is the place. You even get to play Halo 3 ODST's campaign with Halo Reach on the way. Quantum Break. Remedy Entertainment has always favored the unorthodox with its storytelling, and Quantum Break is no exception. A tale of time travel and time-warping powers, Quantum Break's story unfolds over two perspectives: the gameplay with protagonist Jack Joyce and the live-action show with antagonist Paul Serene, as various junction points influence the direction of the story. The time powers make the combat fun, even if movement and platforming can be less than ideal. Overall, Quantum Break is a decently sized adventure that's fun to play through once. Sea of Thieves. Another shared world title that launched in a poor state, Rare's Sea of Thieves has improved by leaps and bounds ever since. New events, story quests, and features like the arena for PvP combat, pets, ships teeming with skeletons, dense fogs that hinder navigation, and much more have helped refine the pirate experience. The combat and shooting are still fairly simplistic, but for sitting back with friends for various hijinks on the high seas, Sea of Thieves is worth a look. Forza Motorsport 7. Turn 10 Studios' stellar Forza Motorsport 7 faced a lot of scrutiny due to its implementation of loot boxes. With their removal, the focus returns to its more positive elements, like the multitude of tracks across 32 locations, over 700 cars to race, and the expansive new career mode. Perhaps the best new feature is dynamic weather, as it makes races more unpredictable and promotes changing strategies mid-race. Killer Instinct. It's difficult to believe that Killer Instinct launched in 2013 for the Xbox One, because it's had an incredible range of support over the years. The fighting itself was already incredibly smooth, and new mechanics like the Instinct meter add some twists to combat. However, we also got ultimate attacks, heaps of new characters, a new single-player mode in the Shadow Lords for partaking in procedurally generated fights, and new skins to unlock. Killer Instinct is easily one of the more underrated fighters on the market and is still incredibly easy to get into after all of this time. Halo Wars 2. If you loved Halo Wars, then Halo Wars 2 is a lot more of the same, sporting two playable factions and the same unit balance system. Infantry excels against aircraft, aircraft are good against tanks, and so on. Though the campaign offers 12 missions with different objectives, multiplayer is the real star. You can choose a leader, each with their own distinctive abilities and units, and partake in modes Stronghold and Domination for map control against 5 other players. Blitz includes CCG mechanics in place of base building, while Firefight allows solo and co-op players to battle waves of AI enemies. Simple, streamlined, and tons of fun. Halo Wars 2 suits the Xbox One perfectly. Gears of War 4. If we're really splitting hairs, then this was technically the Coalition's first real Gears of War title. Taking place several years after the end of the Locust War, we follow JD Phoenix and his friends, Del and Kate. The COG is akin to an authoritarian government. A new foe called the Swarm has appeared, and Marcus Phoenix is still grumpy. Even if it didn't break much new ground, Gears of War 4 still offered a great campaign, compelling horde mode, despite all that annoying card pack mechanics, and some fun multiplayer. Forza Motorsport 6. If Forza Motorsport 7 didn't do it for you, worry not. Forza Motorsport 6 is still one of the best racing sims available, despite launching in 2015. Though it lacks dynamic weather, rainy conditions are included and can affect your driving. The Stories of Motorsport mode offers an incredibly meaty career mode to play through as you master different disciplines, and there are over 450 cars to choose from. In terms of pure racing and customization that's still incredibly approachable, Forza Motorsport 6 is top-notch. Halo 5 Guardians. Halo 5 Guardians was easily more anticipated than Halo 4, especially since it was built from the ground up for the Xbox One. And while the story was fairly unsatisfying, it was good to be reunited with Master Chief and Blue Team, the Singili, and yes, even Nathan Fillion as Buck. The real reason that Halo 5 is rated so highly is due to the post-launch support. 343 Industries added new maps for PvP, and its PvEVP mode Warzone, a firefight version of Warzone for co-op, Forge mode, playlist with the best community maps, new cosmetics, and the return of modes like Infection and Griffball. It may not be the classic Halo multiplayer that you know and love, but Halo 5 Guardians still has more than enough to keep you coming back. Forza Horizon 3. The paradigm shift that cemented Forza Horizon as a serious contender for Best Racer began with the second game. However, its ascent into true legendary status started with Forza Horizon 3. The Horizon Festival traveled to Australia this time, capturing the gorgeous beaches, vibrant greens, and outback deserts with equal aplomb. You were the festival's boss, which meant customizing races and expanding the festival where you saw fit. That still didn't interrupt the flow of partaking in street races, locating and restoring broken down vehicles, partaking in showcase events, and just checking off bucket list challenges. Forza Horizon 3 was phenomenally realized and still remains an excellent experience. Sunset Overdrive. We can understand not liking the characters or expecting more evolution on the open world formula, but Sunset Overdrive is dedicated to style, presenting a bombastic world with over-the-top colors, enemies, and effects as you zip around, vault over obstacles, and even slide on water. A plethora of weapons, each with different mod slots of explosions, freezing, and other nasty properties, keep the shooting fresh. Put them together and you have a game that constantly incentivizes you to pull off the craziest stunts and rack up the most kills. It's a heady mix that becomes incredibly addictive. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. An already amazing Metroidvania title gets even better with Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. The action platformer was already amazing thanks to its stunning visuals and aesthetic, not to mention the heartwarming story of Ori's journey to restore the forest. The Definitive Edition expands on this by adding new difficulty modes, including the dreaded One Life mode, fast travel, new areas, new mechanics, and abilities. In short, play this game, especially with the sequel coming next year. Titanfall. Did it have an awesome campaign like its successor? No. Did it have the benefit of lots of cosmetics to unlock? Again, no. But was Titanfall the superior game in terms of map design, weapon balance, and sheer intensity? Arguably in some cases, but most definitely in others. Releasing exclusively for the Xbox One and PC, with an Xbox 360 port arriving later, Titanfall definitely balanced excellent gunplay with stellar movement mechanics and game-changing Titans. Matches offered a litany of cool moments, from riding on Titans to sniping pilots in midair and wall running across entire levels. The addition of PvE modes like Frontier Defense ensured even more replay value down the line. Gears 5. Plenty of criticism was levied at Gears of War 4 for being too safe and not doing enough with its gameplay. With Gears 5, the Coalition has taken all of that to heart, advancing the story forward while introducing numerous new mechanics. Kate is the protagonist for the majority of the campaign, and discovering her origins, along with expelling the Locust influence on her, becomes the focus. Along with more open worlds with side content and exploration, you have Jack acting as a controllable ally with different abilities and upgrades. Multiplayer has seen arguably the most updates, with a new arcade mode, dedicated classes and character abilities, horde mode and escape mode with the ability to create and share different escape maps. Even if multiplayer isn't that important to you, Gears 5 is still worth experiencing for its awesome campaign and gunplay. CUPHEAD. Some indie games missed the mark, despite years of hype and development. Studio MDHR's CUPHEAD was thankfully not one of them. It bedazzled us with its Fleischer-style animation from the get-go, but at release, it was the gameplay that had us hooked. CUPHEAD's run-and-gun stages were challenging, exuding a distinct charm that made them clever even in death. The boss fights were truly the highlights. These multi-staged brawls featured, among other things, a train of ghosts and spirits, a stage play by Sally, an aerial fight with a djinn. CUPHEAD isn't the longest game, but it's still worth playing, replaying, and then replaying again in expert mode. Forza Horizon 4. The best Xbox One console exclusive by a mile, Playground Games has outdone itself with Forza Horizon 4. Set in parts of Great Britain, including Edinburgh, the sheer pulse-pounding excitement from races is more pronounced than ever. If there were only new showcase events, tons of cars, different racing disciplines to master, and so on, Forza Horizon 4 would still be an excellent sequel. What truly elevates it are the new seasons, which changes the environment every in-game week and introduces new races and events in the process. Horizon Stories offered separate, interconnected scenarios with interesting challenges, though you're still on the quest to garner followers. And all of this doesn't account for the new Route Creator tool, Festival Playlist, the return of class-based rivals, and the numerous paid expansions for even more content. Forza Horizon 4 is one of the best racing experiences, and an integral part of every Xbox One owner's library. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.